I'm Kevin Sharp from Gemini Outdoors, and today we will be announcing our endorsement for president in 2016. Now, before I announce the candidate I will be endorsing, I want to make a few things clear. And what do I look for in a candidate for presidency? The first thing I look for, and there's quite a few, is that they are a constitutionalist. It means they go back to the Constitution on everything that they do and all the laws they consider about, bringing things up, bringing laws up, and the way they apply the Constitution and what they do. Another thing I look for is they've got to be pro-Second Amendment. If they are for gun control, I will not support them. Plain simple. Another point that they need to be is pro-self-defense. They have to believe that people have the right to defend themselves. They have to believe in small government. They need to scale back greatly on the government that we have right now. Big government is in everyone's life. It's in everything we do. It needs to be scaled back. The people need to be the ones who run their lives and not the government. And getting to that small government talking point, we have to go into being an aggressive candidate. And what I mean by aggressive, it is the opposite of progressive. We've had a good dose of progressivism for the last 16 years. If you count the Clinton presidency, even longer than that. But what I mean by aggressive is they need to take these progressive policies that they have made and basically just do away with them, to repeal them, completely do away with them. That's what being an aggressive means. It means not aggressive, egressive, and to be able to egress away from big government, to be able to egress away from this totalitarian government that or big central government that these progressives want. So that's getting away from it and egressing away from it. That's what I mean by aggressive candidate and an aggressive movement that I think is beginning to stir in the country today with the calls to repeal Obamacare and the calls to repeal the spying program that has been going on, and a lot of that's being heard today by these new candidates that we're about to talk about for good reason. Another thing, they need to be very strong on the economy. Get these bureaucrats and get all this big government out of the way of businesses in a way. I'm not talking about just let them have free reign, because we know that's not good either, but have, and I don't even like using this word, common sense, because they use it so much in gun control. Common sense regulations on big business and businesses and stuff, but get out of the way and let them do what they do best, which is create jobs. Getting us out of these bad economic policies to where we're losing in trade. We need to get someone in there who's strong on trade. Very strong, especially here recently with all the terrorist stuff that's going on. Foreign policy is now way up there yet again. We having the terrorist attack in California and in Paris, and we need someone who's going to go after these bad guys, these radical Islam jihadists, whatever you want to call them. I'll just call them jihadists from now on. These jihadists, they need to be dealt with in the most severe way possible. We need to wipe them off the face of the earth. And like I said, there's a lot of people that he said that. Yeah, I did, and that's my opinion of it, and I don't really give a shit about yours, so deal with it. Also, with foreign policy, we need to talk about the aggressive stuff that Russia's been doing here lately. We need to combat. We need to put ourselves back in a leadership role in the world, and instead of apologizing for being kick-ass go-getters that we've been for the last century, we need somebody who's like, hey, look, if you don't like the way that we do things, then take control of your own stuff, and basically, build your own economy up and stuff, and quit relying on the United States so much. I mean, I think that's been kind of one of the big things that's been going on in the world, is everybody wants to lay on us and rely on us to dig them out of the hole. Dig your own ass out of the hole. You're the ones that put yourselves there, and we're putting ourselves in a hole. So here we're going to have to, American people are going to have to dig its government's ass out of the hole again as well. So I think there's a big paradigm shift in America now. We're getting away from progressivism, I think. I think people see it. I think that this election is going to be a get real type card sent to progressivism. I believe. Now, I might be wrong, but I hope, because the Democratic candidate that we've got running, that's probably going, well, Hillary Clinton is going to win it, but she has already pretty much proclaimed herself as a new age progressive. So excuse me if I can speak, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. We need to get away from the progressive stuff, and whenever you hear people talk about more regulation and more this and more that, more government control over this and that, no you don't. Moving on to another point that's very important to me is immigration. I think this whole terrorist thing that happened in California just proves that immigration needs to be dealt with. We don't know what's coming across the borders. We're talking about, everybody's having the big debate about the Syrian refugees and databases about where they're coming from. Well, what about the Mexican border? What about, all these illegal aliens, or illegal immigrants, coming across, and we have absolutely no idea what these people are. And yet you don't hear a peep from anybody hardly about that. And I get aggravated about it. Quite a bit. Now, if they're coming here just to work and everything, do I support that? They should be able to support their families and stuff like that. And yeah, you should be able to do that. But they're going to have to pay a price for that, and for breaking our laws to get here, not coming in the legal way. I think that's what everybody agrees on, is that we want you to come here legally, not illegally. If you come here illegally, number one, you should have to pay a fine. Number two, you should never be allowed to vote. You came here illegally, you didn't go through the process, that's the price you're going to have to pay. That's why I think the progressives want that, or in particular the Democrats want that, because now they've got a huge block of people who's going to be casting votes for them. So I think they should take that away from them, and then you'll see the Democrats' true colors on it. There should be no, hey, if they want them to be here just to work and whatnot, they should be fine with it. And if they say, well, I don't know about that, then there you go. There's the reasoning. And the final point that I think is, we need a president above all to believe in the Constitution and use it. Don't do executive orders and do a roundabout about, the political system or whatever. You have to use it. Bring these people together. Frame your arguments in a way to where the opposing side has to compromise and come to the table. Those are just some of the things that I believe we need to look for in a candidate. That's what I look for in a candidate. So we're going to get to the endorsements, and I'm going to get into a little bit about why I view this the way I do. At number 5, I have Donald Trump. I know he's the big front runner right now, but I don't think that he's got quite the temperament for the job. And he's also, he makes the big point about, all these middlemen that's involved in the, with politicians being the middlemen and all that. Well, aren't we, electing the rich guy that's paying them? Isn't he one of the rich guys who, I know he's saying that his vote can't be bought, but if he's already got in mind what he wants to do, aren't we putting that guy in office directly instead of putting his, puppet? We're putting the puppet master in office instead of the puppet. So, I don't really see his argument there. But I will say that I do like that he speaks his mind. I do like the fact that he seems to, speak it straight, and you don't have to worry about him double dealing. I will say that, and that's why I got him number 5. At number 4, I like Carly Fiorina. A lot of people might kind of go, really? Yeah, I like her. I like the fact that she started off as a secretary and she worked her way up. So she knows what it's like to have to struggle and to work her way up that ladder like us normal folks do. I really like that about her. I like the fact that she's been put in tough positions and had to make tough decisions about things. And even though it didn't go necessarily her way, she realized that she had to live with those decisions. So I do like that about her. I like her stance on a lot of things. And like I said, it's a good thing to have somebody in there who's made tough decisions in their life. Moving on, Marco Rubio is number 3. I really like Marco Rubio. In order to get in my top 3, I really have to like you. And I'm not saying I don't like all 5 of them, but I really like Marco Rubio. He's got a really good positive outlook on things. He seems to be a little bit of a fighter. I kind of like that. I don't like the fact that he was on that immigration thing a time back, so that kind of put a strike a little bit against him, even though he's changed his views since then, which I can appreciate. I think Rubio understands what it's like to struggle even more so than Carly Fiorina does. I think he, just the stuff that's come out here lately about his finances, his personal finances and stuff, I think he can relate to the common man. I think he can understand me a lot better than Donald Trump can and a few of these other candidates out there. So, that's all I got to say about Marco Rubio. Now we're getting into the top 2. And this was a really hard decision for me. As a matter of fact, 5 minutes ago is when I made my mind up between these 2 candidates. And what really decided this was foreign policy and having to deal with the stuff that's going on in California and Paris. And it was a hard decision because I really, really liked both of these candidates. And I was actually leaning more towards the candidate number 2 for a very long time. A very long time I had his back. I still have his back. As a matter of fact, I will support any of these candidates for president if they get the nomination. Just so everybody knows. At number 2, man, it's so hard for me to say this because I was rooting for him so hard for the last few months, and then like I said, with the stuff that's happened, I kind of had to take a little bit of a tougher stand. And like I said, it's less than a percentage point in my head if I'm swinging this way or that way between the 2 of them. And Dr. Ben Carson, love the guy. I think he's got a great attitude. I think he's got an inspiring story. I like the fact that he basically told Barack Obama to his face how the United States should be, and he did it right in front of him, and that commanded a lot of my respect, and it earned a lot of my respect from him. And I think he would be very strong on domestic policies. I think he would be strong on foreign policy as well, and about making decisions. But he's so soft-spoken, and I know that you're not supposed to, base decisions on that, I guess, or judge people about that, but I think we need just a little bit of a tougher stance on these terrorists than just vigilance. I mean, I think that's important, but I think action is something else that needs to be done and needs to be taken. And that's what swung my hand just that little bit more over to this guy. And my endorsement for President of the United States in 2016 is Senator Ted Cruz. And I'll tell you why. Number 1, he basically said what I think a lot of Americans feel. We've been smart bombing these folks. We don't want to get all this collateral damage and all that, but maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what we need to do. Because when it comes to terrorism, I view terrorism the same way that I look at the Imperial Japanese and the Nazis in World War II. And what did we do to them that was so devastating that it changed hearts and minds? How do you get to that? Carpet bombing. And that's what Ted Cruz said. You can't just go after the military arm, whether it be a nation, whether it be a terrorist organization or whatnot. You can't just go after. You can't go after the muscle. You have to go after the brains, and you also have to go after the support system that's there. And where is that support system at? And you have to ask this question. If you just beat down the military, what eventually is going to happen is you're going to have replacements come up. Especially where this terrorist stuff's concerned. These replacements come up. I've got to hurry. I'm running out of time on my battery here. And the way you do that, you destroy the support system, which is basically the people who support them. You have to get them. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that nowadays, and it's kind of taboo. Oh, we got to be smart bomb. We got to be nice when we're bombing these folks. No, you don't. You don't win a war by being nice. And I think we've gotten away from that. I think a lot of people will point towards Vietnam, but in my opinion, we just lost our. In my opinion, we let the politicians. Another thing that I think needs to happen: let the politicians get out of it. Let the generals wage the wars. Support them. That's what your job's supposed to be. Support your generals. And if they're not getting the job done, get rid of them. Put somebody in who will. But don't be sitting there telling them who to bomb, what to bomb. Let the generals do it. I think that's the best course of action where that's concerned. And that's what I like about Ted Cruz. I also like the fact that Ted Cruz has repeatedly stood up to the establishment in Washington, and that's what we need on domestic policy. We need someone to get back to the Constitution who will repeal these progressive policies. I think Ted Cruz is the guy for that. Now there are some shortcomings. He does have some shortcomings, but every candidate is going to. But I think he is the right guy for the job to get these progressive policies dealt with, and then to deal with these foreign policies, to deal with trade and stuff. I think he's the man. I think that where he doesn't know, I think that he's smart enough to put people in there who do. Maybe even some of these candidates that I've been talking about on this video can help him out with that. And I think that he would make a good president. Like I said, I would support all five of them, or anyone for that matter, who shows up in the Republican on the Republican side of it. Because I look at Hillary Clinton, and we know that's who they're going to be facing, basically. And I see another 4 to 8 years of Barack Obama, and we don't need that. I'm sorry, we don't need that. We're coming down this road. I mean, we've been, his big thing that he always says, well, we haven't been attacked since 9/11. Now here we are, and I would even say Fort Hood was a terrorist attack. So here we are. We've had 2 to 3 terrorist attacks on his watch, in my opinion, on his watch, and I think that needs to be dealt with. And I think Ted Cruz is the man to handle it. I just think we need a tough-minded president, and that's who this guy is through and through. He's battled his own party. He's battled the Democrats. He's battled progressives. And I think he's the guy. I love his stance on what he says about guns and about all this terrorism stuff. Where everybody else wants gun control, pretty much, he's saying, I think we ought to have more people. We ought to meet them with their guns. And I agree with him on that. If somebody is coming here to shoot us up, we ought to have a right, and we have a right to defend ourselves with our weapons. So, I'm really glad that he said that. I think that's something that needs to be brought up, is we have a right to defend ourselves with whatever weapon we choose to have, whether it be an AR-15, a semi-automatic pistol, or a shotgun, or a hunting rifle, or a muzzle loader, a bow and arrow, a knife, or whatever. I think we have a right to keep and bear arms, and that's a big part of what I believe, and I think he believes in that, and it gives me encouragement for our future. So in closing, I think the importance of this election is huge for the next 20 years. This is going to affect how things go for the next 20 years, in my opinion. And if we put Hillary in office, Benghazi, emails, you name it, just look at the stuff that she has done. I mean, look at her track record. It is impossible to defend. Lady, you deserve to be in prison, not in the presidential office. I mean, not in the Oval Office. I mean, just for Benghazi alone, I think she deserves to be in prison. I mean, she left them guys over there to die. And Americans just don't do that. I don't care who you are, Democrat, Republican, Independent, progressive, egressive, or whatever. When you can make a call and call up the Navy SEALs or call up the Army Rangers or call up a rapid response force to be able to get there within the amount of time that they had, and they had plenty of time, yeah, you dropped the ball on that one, Miss Clinton. And dropped the ball on a lot of things other than that, just that. And then blame it on the video, please. Give me a break. That's pathetic. And, you know, and I wouldn't want to be in your shoes the day you go meet your maker. I really wouldn't. You got a lot to answer for, lady. And, I mean, we all do, but especially you. But anyways, like I said, this is going to affect the next 20 years. So I really think we need to get someone in there who's got some at least a little bit of common sense. And I think Ted Cruz has got that. I think that's why all the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, and these deadbeat Republicans, as I call them, that we elected in there, who will tell you everything you want to hear, the establishment or whatever, are so fearful of him and want to knock him down every chance they get, and he just stands right back up to them. That's what we need, folks. We need somebody who will look you dead in the eye, stand right back up, take one on the chin, stand right back up, and ask for more. That's what we need. That's what we need in our office. We don't need somebody who's going to sit there and, I'm sorry for what we've done for the last 100 years, when all we've done is kick some ass and take some names. And that's what America is all about, baby. Kicking some ass and taking some names. And the world wants us to apologize for it, when you know full damn well that if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't. Give me a break. Give me a break. Please. You tell me right now that France or Germany or anybody for that matter will not take our economy in a heartbeat, will not take the way we have, you know, been in the last 100 years. Yeah, right. They would take it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And what we're wanting to do, we're wanting all these progressives want us to cower down to them and sink down to a level that we don't need to go. Not saying that there's anything wrong with these countries. I'm not. My heart goes out to France. Really, I mean, it broke my heart to see what happened to them the other day. And I totally get it, you know, about that thing and about terrorism. I felt the same way I did on 9/11. My heart just sank into the pit of my stomach. And it's something that I'll never get over, and I'm sure the people of Paris will never get over, and France will never get over. But we've got, you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with these countries. I'm not sitting here preaching. I'm just saying that America has kicked ass and took names, and there should be winner takes all. I'm sorry, that's the way it is in this world, and they would be the exact same way. So don't let these progressive liberals and all these Democrats and all that, and even some Republicans, sit there and say, well, we ought to be here and we ought to apologize because we've been this and we've exerted our will. That's what winners do. We exert our will over people. So if you don't like it, get out of the country. Go move somewhere else. With that, that was our presidential endorsement for this presidential cycle, and we'll catch you later. Kevin Sharp from Gemini Outdoors signing off.